Good morning, LinkedIn, YouTube. How are you guys doing? So I'm just gonna let this set up quickly, make sure that I'm actually live before I continue, because don't want to be doing this and presenting only to myself. So I'm gonna get started in just a minute. I just want to make sure everything is running smoothly and that you guys can hear me and see me before I actually start. There you go. All right, so first of all, it has been a while. For those of you that don't know, I did take off kind of all of August. So I was completely burnt out. I needed some time to kind of recoup. I traveled, I went to Turkey, I was with my family, did lots of great stuff. And yeah, I'd love to know what you guys have been up to. How's everything? Hi, Salman. Hi, Kostadin. Is that how you pronounce it? Kostadin? David, how is it going? Aisha, Joseph, Brett, Hellman, Albert, woohoo, lots of people here. Excited to have you guys on board. So today we are going to be talking about the 10-20-30 rule of presentations, but like I said, it has been a while since I've done a live, and I'm just kind of filling you guys in on what I've been up to. Been away for a while, you guys, and I thought being away for a while would mean I can come back and it'll just be so easy to get right back into it. But it's been like hard. I've slowly been getting into it, but I'm doing good. Kamar, how are you? But very happy to finally get back to these lives because I have so much new information and new content that I want to share with you guys, and I'm very, very excited because I have a couple of very interesting things coming up, especially for people that are in countries where you're not able to maybe sign up for a program right now. So it'll be something that's more accessible to you. So I'm very excited to share about that. We'll get into that a little bit later, so stay tuned. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Nasir. How are you? So before we start on the actual kind of live today, I do want to let you know I am holding a live masterclass this Saturday. I would love to invite you. It's going to be a 1.5 hour of me talking about fears, public speaking fears, about 3 steps for you to overcome your fear of public speaking and for you to get promoted faster. So if you feel like you are someone that just doesn't speak up enough at work, and if not speaking up enough is holding you back from getting that promotion or getting those jobs that you want, then this will be very, very helpful to you. So all you have to do is go to www.speakatwork.com. I put it in the chat as well. Hopefully, I think I went to the YouTube chat. But everyone on LinkedIn, www.speakatwork.com. You can also go onto my profile, and that is going to show you how you can sign up. There is a direct link. Very excited to see you guys for the live 1.5 hour masterclass this Saturday. And there's only a few more left by the end of the year. So if you weren't able to make it in the past, this is your time. And that's my dog, Caesar. Caesar, come here. Say hi. All right, you guys, let's get started with today's live, which is going to be the 10-20-30 rule in presentations. Before we start, I want to hear how many of you guys have to give presentations. Thank you, David. I'm so much more refreshed. So I'm sure you guys can see it on my face, much more refreshed. And thank you, Atif, for posting the link. But yes, how many of you guys here have to give presentations at work? Say yes if you do, and say no if you don't. Also, how many of you actually enjoy giving presentations? Because I was someone that absolutely hated giving presentations. So I had to really learn quickly, okay, how can I enjoy this? Because I promise you, you can enjoy giving presentations. So what is this 10-20-30 rule for presentations? I'm seeing lots of yeses, lots of people have to do presentations. So what is this rule? What is this rule? Let's talk about it. So this was actually a rule that was created by an Apple brand ambassador, Guy Kawasaki. I think he's now moved to Canva. So he's moved over to Canva, but he basically created this rule that said that anytime you do a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation, if you do it on Google Slides, if you do it on Keynote, anytime you do a presentation, it should not have more than 10 slides. It should never go over longer than 20 minutes. And you should basically use a minimum font size of 30. Okay, so that is the 10, 20, and 30 rule of presentations. Let's go over each one because I want you to be able to apply these, and I want to talk to you about why each one of these is very, very important. And of course, Caesar's trying to get in. Caesar, I can't open the door right now. There's like a lot of people watching me. So let's move on to the first thing, which is the slides, the 10. Okay, so why 10 slides, right? 10, 20, 30, perfect. Altif, you got it. So why 10 slides? Why not 20? Why not 30? Why not 100? Now, I know most of you guys think that my presentation slides is the presentation. It's actually not, believe it or not. I'd like to say to you that you are your presentation, not your slides. So by having only 10 slides, what does that do? It does bring more focus onto you, who is the presenter, okay, and less on the actual slides. That's why 10 slides is a great idea. Also, by having 10 slides, you get right to the point. So you can actually outline the main elements. I know most of you guys think, oh, I have to talk about all this extra stuff, add in all of this fluff, but your audience doesn't really care. They want you to get to the point. They want you to land that plane. So having 10 slides forces you to get to that point because you know you only have a certain amount of slides to work with. That's why it's great to have just 10 slides. I know sometimes if you're doing a group presentation, you might need to add in more, but for you and the part that you're speaking, try to maintain it at 10 slides. Maybe you can do a few more, but nothing more than 12. I would stick to 10, maximum 12, okay? Another thing with 10 slides is that you end up using less text as well. I know some people think, okay, I have a presentation. I'm gonna throw all my notes and stories and graphics and everything on the presentation. That's not such a great idea. And I'll tell you why. So people have a very, very short attention span, very, very short. So if you are throwing everything onto the slides, it's just too much information for your audience to grab and to pay attention to, okay? That's why having 10 slides also means you have less text, and it means that your audience will be able to grasp the information so much better, all right? Now, let's move on to the 20 minutes. Why 20 minutes? I know most of us think, oh my God, I have so much information to share. And in order for me to sound and look like a great presenter, my presentations should be an hour long. They should be an hour and a half if possible. Not necessarily, right? The shorter you can keep your presentation, the better. I don't mean but short by 10 minutes or 5 minutes, depending on what type of presentation it is. But for the most part, try to keep it around 20 minutes, going back to the rule, 10, 20, 30. So when you maintain 20 minutes of a presentation, you are, number one, very clear about what you're talking about, because again, you're taking out the fluff. There's no all this extra added stuff that you just don't need. You guys, get to the point, make it very clear what you are talking about, okay? Getting right to the point is going to be a lot more effective than creating a 1 hour presentation where you're just moving around, touching different topics. It just becomes too much for your audience. Keep it clear, keep it simple, keep it to the point, and maintaining 20 minutes is going to help you that. Also, if you give yourself just 20 minutes for the actual presentation, this gives you a lot of time for opening up a discussion with your audience, for getting more engagement from your audience, and also maybe even a Q&A. Highly recommend doing each one of these, okay? Because you don't want to be talking for half an hour, for 1 hour, and your audience is just sitting there. People get bored. People get bored so easily. Think of yourself. When you're watching a presentation, how long do you typically last before you start thinking about what you're gonna have for lunch? Or you start thinking about, okay, what am I gonna do for my workout today? Or you start thinking about that TV show you've been watching, right? You lose track so quickly. And then what happens is you miss all of this extra information, maybe very good information that the presenter is trying to convey to you. Now, before we continue, just a reminder for everyone that's new and joining right now, do make sure you join me this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for my masterclass, 3 steps to get promoted much faster in the workplace, especially if you are an introvert. How many of you guys are introverts here? If you are an introvert, say introvert. I'm a huge introvert. I'm also going to write an introvert, like huge introvert. If you are an introvert, this is really, really going to help you. I'm going to give you lots of practical tips and things you can do right away. So it's not like you're going to do them weeks later. The masterclass is on Saturday. So Monday morning, as soon as you have your first meeting, you'll be able to apply a lot of these tips. So again, all you have to do is go to www.speakatwork.com. If someone in the chat can please type that in, because right now when I type it in, all my messages only go to YouTube for some reason. But I know I have a lot more people on LinkedIn. But speaking of YouTube, I have a good 5,000 people on YouTube now, which is crazy. So it would be helpful if someone can type it in, www.speakatwork.com. I'm going to be giving you lots of tips on speaking and just being a better presenter in general, especially in the workplace, and if you're an introvert. Thank you so much, Atif. Appreciate it a lot. All right, let's get back to our 10, 20, and 30 rule. Thank you, Brett. 10, 20, 30 rule by Guy Kawasaki. Okay, and I've implemented this rule a lot when I was in the workforce, and I just noticed a huge difference. Like people were more interactive, people weren't getting bored, they actually enjoyed my presentations, they retained the information, and I was getting called in to do more presentations because generally speaking, people, like I said, enjoyed it. Now, let's go back to the 20 minutes. There's a few more things I want to add to why 20 minutes is really that sweet spot. Okay. Hi, Roland. 20 minutes, again, we said, because you're going to be very clear, you'll be to the point, more time for discussions, Q&As, all of that great stuff. But also, it leaves room for technical errors. Okay, so when you have an hour presentation prepared, let's say you're like, all right, it's going to be half hour, 1 hour, whichever it is, and you have technical difficulties, now that hour is going to turn into an hour 10 minutes, an hour 20 minutes. Worst case scenario, an hour and a half, which is, again, terrible for your audience. Okay? Caesar wants to say hi. So let's say hi quickly, Caesar. He won't leave me alone. Guys, this is my dog. It's Monday morning and he just wants that extra attention. So Caesar, I'm trying to do a live, so give me 2 seconds, buddy. All right, moving back to the technical difficulties. So if your presentation is 20 minutes and everyone's sitting there, even if you take that extra 5 to 10 minutes, it's really going to make a difference because now you're not taking all that extra time. Okay, remember, people get bored very easily, and it's your job as a speaker to maintain their attention. So if people are bored, don't blame it on them, right? If anything, it's a reflection of what kind of presenter you are. Okay, let's move on to the last one, which is 30. So if any of you guys remember what I said about 30, so the 10, 20, 30 rule, the 30 means that you have to be very careful with your font size. When you're doing a presentation, your font, especially on PowerPoint, should be a minimum 30. I typically like to do 55 because I use very less words, and anytime that I do a presentation, I like for those words to take up space so it's easier for people to read. Okay, so 30 to, if it's a title or the actual body, depending on that, 55. Okay, like I like 55. Sometimes I go a little bit smaller, but do not go under 30. People need to be able to see what is on there, right? Just because you have great eyesight doesn't mean everybody else does too. If people can't read your PowerPoint presentations, they're going to zone out and they're going to be like, okay, you know what? What meeting do I have next? What am I going to be doing? So try to avoid that. Make sure your font is nice and big, and it's also clear to understand. Get rid of those extra crazy fonts that look like they're from, another century. Don't use those. Keep it simple. the simpler you keep it, the easier it is for your audience to understand, and the easier it is for them to understand and grasp your concepts, the more they're going to enjoy the presentation. And of course, if your audience is enjoying the presentation, you will enjoy the presentation as well. Okay, so minimum 30 font, and the larger you can go, the better. But that doesn't mean you have like boom, right? Like 100. Don't go that crazy either. Try to keep it 30 to 55. It's easier for people to read. The last thing is, when you do have a larger font, try to take up as much space. So don't have it like at one end or one corner, right? So let's say it's speakatwork.com and it's a presentation slide. It's not going to be up here. It's not going to be up here. It's not going to be down here. It's not going to be down here. It's not even going to be here. You want it right at the center. People's eyes go right at the center. That's the first place they see. And if you've gotten their attention with the first sight, then it's much easier to maintain it. Okay, so make sure your font is right in the middle. Okay, last thing about why size 30 font is awesome is because this also allows you, now that the font is bigger, you're not going to be putting in so much information. So remember what I said earlier, you are your presentation, not your slides. Not your slides. Your slides are just complementary to your actual presentation. Okay. So when you have a bigger font that's taking up more space, it's allowing you to do most of the talking. Okay. Again, you are your presentation, not your slides. You have to be able to do most of the talking. That means don't throw everything on your slides, right? Keep it very, very minimum. Keep it simple. 30 font right in the center so you can actually speak and people look at you. If you put everything on your actual slides, why would people listen to you, right? They would have no reason to. You want them to actually look at you because you are the person explaining everything, okay? So this allows you to do most of the talking. It allows you to actually present. And that's what you want to do. You want to be the one presenting. Your presentation slides should not be the one presenting. Okay. So again, that is the 10, 20, 30 rule of presentations as much as you can. I know there will be times where you just cannot keep your slides to 10. If you have to go a little bit over, that is completely fine, but try to stay closer to the 10 slide zone. If it is a much longer 1 hour presentation, and again, this is for work, okay? Because for my master classes, I have a lot more slides because that's a very different type of presentation. But at work, you want to keep it short, okay? The shorter, the less slides, the better. And the 20 minutes, the shorter, again, the better. Pay attention to this, the font. Yeah, Jason, he doesn't. He does not give up. I've had a cat before, and you know, cats eventually give up and they leave you alone. Caesar does not stop. He keeps going, and the door finally opened. My husband finally let him in, and he's actually in a meeting, so I don't know how he did it. But yeah, he's in there. But yes, you guys, it's great to be back on live. I've really missed kind of speaking with you guys. I'm glad to see most of you guys are doing really good. And I have lots of new stuff coming up. Very excited to get back on board with these lives. Again, do join me on my masterclass. If you enjoyed this, I do have a 1.5 hour presentation, and the presentation itself is just an hour, but I leave a good 30 minutes for Q&A in the end where I answer all of your questions about public speaking, about my program, about all the stuff, LinkedIn, everything. So do join me this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard at www.speakatwork.com. You can also go to my profile. There is a direct link to sign up for my masterclass. So again, you guys, presentations are a big deal because this is really the time that you get to shine, show off all your skills. So don't shy away from them. If you need to do a presentation, very simple rules that you need to follow. Start with this one, the 10, 20, 30 rule for presentations. And of course, remember, you are the presentation, not the presentation slides. Okay, I hope you guys found this helpful. I'm very excited again to come back and do these lives. If you have suggestions on what more you would like to see, especially about presentations, impromptu speaking, public speaking, introversion, even extroversion. If you have any suggestions, do let me know. I am kind of creating content for the rest of the year, so I'd like to have it cater towards you. So do let me know if you guys have suggestions in the chat box. I do go back and try to read all of the comments. And of course, it's Monday. Happy Monday. I hope you guys have a terrific week ahead. I'm very excited, like I said, to be back after a long break and connecting with you guys, and again, working on everything that we've been working on. I do have a few surprises that will be coming up in the next month or two that I will be announcing, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.